Today we're playing two spicy inclusions in Pioneer Lotus Field Combo. The first, Lindblum Industrial Regency from Final Fantasy, and the other, Izzet the Dawnwaker. Let's go check it out. Before we begin today's video, we should thank Jonathan Zolot, who submitted today's donation deck. Jonathan really wanted to see Izzet the Dawnwaker, but also Lindblum Industrial Regency and Pioneer Lotus Field Combo. But before we get into those two spicy inclusions, let's talk about how the deck works first, because it's been so long since I've recorded this deck here on the channel. In fact, I've only recorded it twice in the last calendar year, since Pioneer sort of lost its standing with Wizards of the Coast. It's not really a supported format anymore, but I still love this deck, but I just don't get to play it as much as I used to. So I played it in 2 videos, and then last night I played it just trying to get the rust off, so to speak, and I went undefeated 5-0, and it was super easy. So hopefully we were able to replicate that here today. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about how the deck works. So the main thing is that you would like to find Lotus Field. This is your deck's namesake, and it's a land that taps for 3 mana. Oh, there the zoom goes. It's a land that taps for 3 mana and has hexproof. You do have to sacrifice 2 lands when it enters the battlefield. So a drawback, but tapping for 3 is pretty good. And then in most games, you would like to copy it with Thespian Stage, so that way you have 2 copies of Lotus Field. Okay, and then from there you can untap those lands using Hidden Strings, so now you're able to generate mana. If you have Hidden Strings, and then you have 2 copies of Lotus Field, usually one of them's Thespian Stage, you're +4 mana. You're making 6, but then you're using 2, so +4. And then you have cards like Pour Over the Pages, which is +1 mana, but you get to draw cards, so pretty good. And then you have Artist Talent. This is really interesting because if you level it up, you can then reduce costs of your spells, like Hidden Strings and Pour Over the Pages. So Pour Over the Pages would become +2, and Hidden Strings would become +5. The idea is that you draw through your entire library, you'll play a Wish into Thassa's Oracle. Okay, well that's how you win most games. But Lindblum Industrial Regency is a really cool new card from Final Fantasy that gives you the perfect backup win condition. So you're able to play this card as an adventure and create a 0/1 black wizard that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you ping your opponent for 1. Okay, well that seems pretty good because now you have a backup win condition to Wish into Thassa's Oracle. We like that. But when you have Artist Talent leveled up all the way, each ping could deal 3. Or if you have 2 Artist Talents, each ping is now 5. And I actually won a number of games this way last night, not even needing the Wish into Thassa's Oracle. So that's really, really exciting. Okay, well, that makes sense, but why Izzet the Dawnwaker? Why would you play this? Because you do lose the main deck copy of Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. Well, you're, for the most part, an Artist Talent deck. You also have Pour Over the Pages, which causes you to discard a card. So both these cards force you to discard. Sometimes you want to keep all of the cards in your hand. So you could pay 3 mana and put Izzet the Dawnwaker from the Companion Zone to your hand. And then you have a free card to discard to Artist Talent or Pour Over the Pages. Okay, that's probably the primary reason that you would run this card, but it also reduces the effects of things like Expedition Map, Thespian Stage, Otawara Soaring City, Vizier of Tumbling Sands, or even leveling up your Artist Talent. That's the secondary reason to play Izzet the Dawnwaker. You would have to put that card into your hand and then cast it for those though, which isn't super common. So the most probable way you'll use Izzet the Dawnwaker is to discard it to Pour Over the Pages or Artist Talent. So it does come at the cost of not playing the main deck Lear. I never felt like I needed the main deck Lear last night. I will say that. There was never a point where I was like, oh, only if I had Lear in the main deck. I feel like I won almost every game just playing Pour Over the Pages, Hidden Strings, and then 4 copies of Stock Up. I did record a video with this deck when Stock Up came out. It was on Magic Arena. Today we're playing on Magic Online. It's my preferred way to play, and that's sort of the deck tech, at least in the main deck. We have Leyline of Sanctity in the sideboard. This does shut off Izzet the Dawnwaker, but I feel like this card is so important in those matchups where it's just worth having. I did face Rakdos midrange last night where I had turn 1 Leyline in both post-board games, and my opponent was just not happy about it. So this card is very, very good. And then you have things like Mystical Dispute, Chandra's Defeat, and Anger of the Gods for those aggressive red decks. And that's pretty much it. So that's the deck tech. Thank you to Jonathan once again for submitting this. I really do appreciate your support. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the breakdown today. Stick around and watch the matches. I would greatly appreciate that, and I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, cyborg guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the play with Pioneer Lotus Field Combo, and we are revealing... Whoa. Our opponent just conceded. What is going on here? Is this someone, like, trying to, what is it called? Like, pair into each other? Win trading? Is that what it's called? I have no idea what just happened or why they conceded. I put a question mark in the chat trying to figure out what they're up to. That is also not how I want to start a recorded League of Magic online. Does my opponent just snap conceding? Okay, so my opponent just let their sideboarding clock run all the way down. I'm pretty sure we're facing a win trader, but we'll find out. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Match number 2, it turns out our opponent was in fact win trading. Match number 1, I didn't come back and do an outro or anything, my apologies. But we're in match number 2, I'm on the play, I've kept this hand, and it's very good. We have turn 1 Lindblum as a land, and then turn 2 Artist Talent, turn 3 Lotus Field. There's a lot to like here. So I'll play my land, pass the turn. They have a turn 1 Temple Garden, and 2 Elvish Mystic. We'll play the Spirebluff Canal and the Artist Talent. Pass the turn. Basic Plains. Ooh, Skyclave Apparition. So I'm going to lose my Artist Talent. Not very kind. Let's play Sleight of Hand. I think I'm going to take the Thespian Stage. It means that this Expedition map is dead, but I guess I could still play it here, or I could discard it later. Honestly, I think it's more valuable as a card in my hand to discard. So I'm going to just leave it. They play another land. Alright, so that confirms that they're on the Angels deck. We'll play Thespian Stage, pass. So I can either consider or Into the Floodmaw and copy my land this turn. So they gain some life. I don't really care all that much about this. Sure, you got it. You are the beatdown. End step, we will copy and play Consider. Get rid of the Lotus Field. Land wasn't great. Hidden Strings is a fine draw. We'll play Stock Up. Take Pour Over the Pages and Vizier of Tumbling Sands. We will cycle the Vizier. Untap Lotus Field. Draw. Another Expedition map. Let's play our land for turn. I'd like to hold the Hidden Strings. We'll play Pour Over the Pages. That was good. I think we just won. Alright, and now I'll play another Pour Over the Pages, so I can play Wish into Lear, Disciple of the Drowned, and it should just be an easy win. Discard another map. Play Hidden Strings. Yes, yes. Another Hidden Strings. The World is our oyster. Play Wish. And now Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. And something I'm interested in seeing here is, ooh, I can in fact play the Lindblum from the graveyard. I didn't think I was going to be able to. I love that. Okay, so that's good to know. And it never came up in my league last night, but I wanted to know if that worked, and apparently it does. That's great. Okay, so we're facing Angels. I don't even know if we sideboard for this matchup. Like, a bunch of their creatures have a 3 or larger, so I don't even know if, like, you want Anger of the Gods. I'm going to just send it back. Our deck is already perfect, no changes. Game 2, we're on the draw. I will keep. We don't have Lotus Field, but we do have an Artist Talent. So I'm going to choose to keep this. If I hit a 3rd land, I can also play Stock Up to dig for a Lotus Field. Ooh, we drew a map. All right. Play the Expedition map. If they have turn 2 Apparition, that hurts, but I think you're supposed to play it. There's the Plains. Sure, that's not an apparition, so I can go grab my Lotus Field. Ouch. I'll go to 18. Pass. And now they're going to send in the beats. I go to 15. Damping Sphere. That's not very kind. I will go grab my Lotus Field. I just need one. I'm not necessarily going to play it this turn, but I'm at least going to go search it out. We will play Artist Talent and pass. Would have liked to have drawn a land that turn. Another Damping Sphere. That's not good. And a Deafening Silence. So you really hate combo, huh? My. I'm not even sure what a winning game looks like. Let's just go to the next one. They got me. They drew triple hate piece. It happens. I will resubmit. On the play. Reveal our Zerda. This seems like a fine hand. Keep. Player path and map. Pass the turn. They play a Razor Verge Thicket into Elvish Mystic. Play the path and pass. They have the creature. They play another Overseer. I will go search out Lotus Field. They'll draw a card. Into the Flood Maw. Good draw. Let's play Sleight of Hand. I think it's supposed to be... this is tough. Let's play it safe. I'll take the Flood Maw. And then we'll play Stage. Play another map. Pass the turn. They play the land. They have 6 cards in their hand here. Sure. And a Damping Sphere. You got it. We drew another Lotus Field. I'll use the map. Just grab another path, I think. We'll play it. Pass the turn. Now they attack for 5. I go to 13. Elvish Mystic. And a Llanowar Elves. Sure. So they have 2 cards left in hand. They have 7 damage in play. I'm not dead. We'll play the Lotus Field. Copy it. Sacrifice our 2 lands. Pass the turn. So I should be able to bounce the Damping Sphere and then win. And if they have some sort of trick here that would kill me, I can bounce the creature and then use the other Flood Maw next turn. So no blocks. I'll go to 5. Or I thought it was 5. I guess it's 6. End step into the Flood Maw on the Damping Sphere. You can have a fish. And we'll play Pour Over the Pages. Untap, discard the other Lotus Field. Okay. Let's play Stock Up. Take Vizier and Artist Talent. Let's cycle the Vizier. I'd like a little bit more mana. Draw the land. Let's play Stock Up. Vizier, Hidden Strings. That was good. Cycle the Vizier. Untap Lotus Field. Draw. We'll Hidden Strings. Floating 2 red. Yes. Tap for blue. We'll play our land for turn. Let's play the Artist Talent. Float a red. And then we'll play Sleight of Hand. Trigger. Discard Thespian Stage. Another Artist Talent. Take the Hidden Strings. Let's go. And now we will level up the Artist Talent. Play Artist Talent. Get rid of the Lindblum Industrial Regency. Hidden Strings. Discard Spirebluff Canal. Discard the Consider. Yes. So I'm keeping into the Flood Maw in case they have that creature that you can flash it in and then, like, detain a spell. It might be me being too cautious, but I think it's the right move. We'll play the Hidden Strings. Oh, that would have been a good spot for the Zerda. I should have put Zerda to my hand. Yes. And I guess now I'll put Zerda to my hand. Or does that even make sense? It might not. So if I level up the other talent, I can then play Wish for 1 mana. It's not worth doing. Okay. So I'll play the Wish. Get rid of the Consider. Get rid of 1 Flood Maw. And now we'll play the Leer, Disciple of the Drowned. I would have had to give up Leer in order to do the Zerda play. Hidden Strings. Discard the Steam Vents. Discard the Into the Flood Maw. And now I will Cipher onto the Leer. And I think we're just going to Hidden Strings a bunch. Hidden Strings. Discard the map. Discard the Spire Bluff. Yes. And then Cipher. And now we'll play the Lindblum from the graveyard. No, I don't want to discard. And now we'll level. Level up again. So now every card I cast will deal them 5. We'll play Stock Up for 1 mana. So they'll take 5 damage from the wizard. So they'll go to 16. I'll say no again. Stock Up. Take another Pour Over the Pages. And I guess a Steam Vent, so that way I have something to discard. Tap for more mana. We'll play another stock up. This will deal them 5. Discard Steam Vents. Discard the Wish. Hidden Strings and a stock up. Hidden Strings again. Discard the Artist Talent. And a Pour Over the Pages. Okay, they're at 6, so I have to play 2 more spells. We'll play a stock up. Get rid of the Path. And a Vizier. Stock up. We'll take Double Consider. And Sleight of Hand to end it. Boom! So we got to see Lindblum in action. I didn't actually need to use the Zerta this game, but it will come up. In my league that I played last night, I did it a couple times, and it was pretty good. So we're now 2-0. Granted, one of them was not really credible, but, you know, we're 2 matches into the league at least. 3 left to go. Hopefully we get those. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. We are back for match number 3. I am on the draw. We've opened up a very reasonable hand. I don't love having Double Wish. It's pretty clunky, but I think the rest of the hand is so good that we're supposed to keep it. And it looks like we're facing Arclight Phoenix, traditionally a pretty good matchup for Lotus Field Combo. The wishes do get a little bit better because you can wish into Anger of the Gods and sort of blow them out of the water. We'll play a first turn Spire Bluff Canal and 2 Expedition Map. Pass the turn. They have an island, and they just pass. We'll play another Spire Bluff Canal and send it back to them. And the end step, they play an Opt. No, they kept the card. Okay. Corey Steel Cutter, sure. End step, we will use the map, grab a Lotus Field, play a Consider, keep the Artist Talent, play another map. Hopefully they Spell Pierce this. They did not. And Lotus Field. Pass the turn. Land number 4. They still have 5 cards in hand. Another Corey Steel Cutter. And Free the Fae. So they'll make a couple creatures here. Spikefield Hazard. Oh no, wait, did they pick up? They grabbed another Picklock Prankster / Free the Fae. Okay, that's fine. So we'll take 4 down to 16. We'll play the Thespian Stage and pass. There is a world here in which I could die. I hope I don't, but it's possible. They play the Free the Fae. They did hit an Arclight Phoenix. And now they Treasure Cruise. Not looking great for me. Okay. A lot of damage. And now a Consider. So this should bring back the Arclight Phoenix too. And that is 8, 11, 14, 17, which puts me dead. And I believe they still have a land drop. So I guess I could try using the Lindblum as a blocker here. And they're going to Lightning Axe, killing their own creature. That brings back an Arclight Phoenix. So I have 2 options. I can use the Lindblum for an instant speed creature and block, or I could cycle the Vizier and hope to spike exactly into the Floodmaw. I'm supposed to, I think, use the Lindblum. So we'll make a surprise blocker. Throw it in front of a large prowess creature, and I believe this puts me to 1. And then we have to hit a chain of spells in order to win. Okay, we need like a Hidden Strings. Let's start by cycling Vizier. Really need a Hidden Strings. Not a Hidden Strings. So I technically have 3 mana into Anger of the Gods, but with double Corey Steel Cutter, I don't think that's like a real play for me here because I'm probably just dead on board. So, not an option. If I had more life, maybe that was a play. I think I just have to try to spike the Hidden Strings. And we did hit, so now I'll play my land. We'll copy the Lotus Field. Hidden Strings to untap. We're not even out of the water. Like, this is just a potential to keep going. So I can play the Artist Talent, and then I have to find another Hidden Strings pretty quickly. The wishes really don't do enough for me here, I don't think. So I'll play Artist Talent. So something I found in my league last night, there was a few points in which I wished that I had like a dig through time in the sideboard. And right now is like another one of those where I sort of wish I had a dig through time. We'll play Sleight of Hand. Get rid of the Wish. Well, Pour Over the Pages is good, but I need a Hidden Strings to cast it. We did not hit, so I think we're dead. Yeah, because the Artist Talent isn't leveled up. I guess if I had known I was going to draw Pour Over the Pages, I shouldn't have played the Artist Talent, but I didn't know that. Okay, so we lose game number 1. Being on the draw bad. We will bring in Mystical Dispute. Get rid of Into the Flood Maw. Let's try it again. Game number 2, we're on the play. Reveal our Zerda. Ooh. Unfortunately, this is not a keep. It's so close. We have to mulligan. We'll try this and bottom a Wish. Play the Spire Bluff Canal and the Expedition map. Pass the turn. They play an island, and they pass. So you could play the Artist Talent. What is this? They're going to Flood Maw my map. Sure. I was going to say you could play the Artist Talent, but there's the risk that they like Spell Pierce it, and now I'll just play the Talent and pass. Like, that was a good exchange, at least from my eyes. Now they play a second island, so no Quarry Steelcutter. We'll play the Path. Let's level up the Artist Talent. Thinking pretty hard about this. They consider in response. Sure. I mean, I'm tapped out. There's not a whole lot I can do here. They happen to surveil away an Arclight Phoenix. I don't love that. And now they play an Opt. So, because our opponent gave us a fish, we could theoretically cipher Hidden Strings onto it in order to make mana. But I would have to have the mana to play Hidden Strings and put a Lotus Field in play. They Brazen Borrower the Artist Talent. Okay. Let's play the Expedition map. Even if they have Spell Pierce, I can pay for it. They have a Null. Interesting. We'll play the Artist Talent. And I think I want to keep the Steam Vents to discard. Like, land number 4 in play doesn't really help me all that much. And they pass without making a play. We drew another map. I'm just going to level again. Like, if they're not applying pressure, let's just not play into Counter Magic. They're now at 17 from Fish Beats. They now play the Brazen Borrower. Sure. And a Sleight of Hand. They swing another Into the Flood Maw. They have 5 cards remaining. Let's try Artist Talent. Another Null. I'm going to Mystical Dispute this. Artist Talent. Play Steam Vents, ouch. And we'll play the Expedition map. And I think I'll use the filter here on the Sleight of Hand. Bring in the Pain. Pass. They're now at 15. They Treasure Cruise, leaving Arclight Phoenix in the graveyard. And they attack. This puts me to 12. Still no red land. We will use the Expedition map. Grab a Lotus Field. So I can play a land, or I can just play the Lotus Field. If I play the land, I could level up Talent again. But obviously, if they have another bounce spell, it feels a little foolish. I think I'll just play the Lotus Field. And we'll go to combat. Swing. They're now at 13. And step they Opt. Sleight of Hand. They find the red land. And ouch. I'm now at 9. We find Wish. Wish doesn't do a whole lot of good for me here. I think I'll put Zerda to my hand. So I could run the risk of dying. Like, if my opponent puts another Arclight Phoenix to the graveyard and then brings them both back, I'm dead on board. But I don't think I'm supposed to play around that. And I'll pass the turn. I could level up the Artist Talent. I just don't think it's a good idea. And I'm going to leave back the fish tokens in case of Quarry Steelcutter shenanigans. They play Sleight of Hand. They're going to combat, so I am not dead. Okay, so I will go to 6. They play a tap land. We draw Otawara. Okay. What to do, what to do? I believe I would like to start with a Hidden Strings on their 2 blue sources. We'll discard the Pathway. We draw Mystical Dispute, a very good draw. And they negate. I think I need to Mystical Dispute here. We'll discard Zerda the Dawnwaker. We get stock up. And they float a blue. No, Hidden Strings. No, no. And then I'll put it onto the fish. We'll attempt to go to combat. Maybe I messed up. Maybe I was supposed to level up the Artist Talent there. Yeah, I think I messed up. Because then I could have untapped the Lotus Field. And I would have had the Pour Over the Pages for 4. Stupid Bryant, what are you thinking? Because I just made my life a whole lot more difficult. Okay, so I get to cast the Hidden Strings now, which I believe triggers the Artist Talent. Target 2 of my lands. Discard. I haven't played a land yet, so I think the land is actually better than the Wish. But I think we get rid of Wish. And I hit another Pour Over the Pages. And now I can play a Pour Over the Pages. And, you know, forget it. I'm going to get rid of the Otawara. Untap, untap. And I hit the Hidden String. Super good. Get rid of the other Artist Talent. Level up the Artist Talent. Hidden Strings. Get rid of Consider. Untap, untap. And now I can play another Pour Over the Pages. We'll get rid of Sleight of Hand. Another Pour Over the Pages. Get rid of the land. We'll play another Pour Over the Pages. There's one Wish still in the deck. I don't think I'm going to have the mana to use this other Artist Talent. Untap, untap, discard Lotus Field. We'll play the Expedition map for free. Discard the Steam Vents. So I hit a stage, but I can't actually use it effectively here. We'll play Stock Up. Discard a Mystical Dispute. Draw Consider. Vizier and Sleight of Hand. Sort of running on fumes here. Cycle the Vizier. Untap Lotus Field. Draw. We'll play the map, discard Thespian Stage. We'll play Stock Up for 2 mana. Discard Spire Bluff. We hit the Wish. I did not hit another Hidden String, so I have to take Land Vizier. Oh my, things are not looking good. We'll play the land. Cycle the Vizier. Untap Lotus Field. Draw. How many Hidden Strings do I even have? There's 1 under the Fish. There's 2. It looks like I have 2 Hidden Strings still in the deck that I just have not found. We'll play Sleight of Hand. Discard the Mystical Dispute. We draw Consider. Ah, that's a bummer. I want both of these. We'll take the Hidden Strings. So we know that Vizier is our bottom card now. Untap, untap. Discard Consider. Untap, untap, and then no. We'll play Pour Over the Pages. Discard the Lotus Field. Okay. Discard a land. I think we've got it from here. Cycle the Vizier. Untap Lotus Field. Draw. Play Sleight of Hand. Discard Artist Talent. Take the Hidden Strings. Hidden Strings. Discard the Stage. Yes, yes, no. Play a Consider down to 7 cards. We'll use this. This brings us to 6. Get rid of the land. Play another Consider. Get rid of the land. Get rid of the Lotus Field. And now we'll draw the Vizier, because we knew it was our second to last card through Sleight of Hand. Untap the Lotus Field. We'll draw our final card. And now we can play Wish. And we will not draw here off the Artist Talent unless you want to lose. And now we can play the Thassa's Oracle. Okay, so we stole that game. I did not play perfectly. I definitely made my life a lot more difficult by not leveling up that Artist Talent. And now we need to win game number 3. So we did notice that they had a lot of annuls and bounce effects. Something you could consider, and I'm not saying it's a good idea, but something you're allowed to think about is boarding out the Artist Talents. I think it's really risky. I personally wouldn't do it, but it's an option you have. And if you wanted to do that, you would bring in the Anger of the Gods and 2 into the Floodmaw, and you're just trying to be like a control deck that has Stock Up and Pour Over the Pages and stuff like that. I don't know how good that really is. I feel like it's kind of sketchy. So I'm going to just do this instead. Reveal our Zerda the Dawnwaker. Good hand. Keep. They play a Pathway. We'll play a Spire Bluff Canal and Sleight of Hand. We'll take the map. Pass. Spire Bluff Canal for them. Sleight of Hand. So they're keeping open Spell Pierce or Annul, because they could have played the Sleight of Hand on turn 1. We'll play another Spire Bluff Canal. Let's just play the map. Like, if they want to counter it, counter it. It's not that important. We'll find a Lotus Field eventually. And they use the Annul. Play Sleight of Hand. Take the Consider. Pass. Another Sleight of Hand. Shivan Reef. And another Sleight of Hand. They have 5 cards remaining. We draw Pour Over the Pages. I think I'm going to just pass the turn, and then I can consider on their end step. And now they consider. I'll consider once right now. Ooh. I think I'll keep the Hidden Strings. It's risky because I don't have the Lotus Field quite yet. And now they play an Artist Talent, sure. They play Otawara, and I'll end step play a Consider. Get rid of the Thespian Stage, we draw another Vizier, and another Stage. Play Stage. Actually, I'll just pass. There's no reason to play into Negate or something else that we saw previously, allowing them to trigger their Artist Talent. They just played a land, and now they're passing. Still with 4 cards in hand. End step, let's cycle a Vizier. If I can find Lotus Field, I feel like we'll be able to bully them on mana and easily win this. But I have to find the Lotus Field. Lindblum. And now we'll cycle another Vizier, just digging for the Lotus Field. We find the Wish. Doesn't really help right now. They have 4 cards. Maybe we do just play the Talent? I don't know. If this eats a Negate, I might slam the stock up, and it just resolved. Okay, maybe we try stock up then. Trigger the Artist Talent. Maybe they're just sitting on a bunch of Into the Flood Maws. That might be why. Discard the Lindblum. We drew another Wish. Awkward. Stock up. And stock up resolves. We'll take Lotus Field and the Pour Over the Pages. What did you keep? I was not expecting all of that to resolve. It must be a bunch of bounce spells in their hand. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. There's a Petty Theft. And there's an Arclight Phoenix. And now they play the Brazen Borrower. They draw back up to 4 cards. They play land number 6 instead of holding it for the Artist Talent. Quarry Steelcutter. Discards a land. Okay, well, maybe they have more lands. That could be why. And I hardcast Arclight Phoenix. Okay, so I guess they just have nothing. Which means we're probably going to win now. I'll take 8 down to 12. We'll float 2 mana. Play the Lotus Field. Sacrifice these 2 lands. Copy the Lotus Field. And now we'll Hidden Strings. Yes, yes. 7 minutes on the clock. Play Pour Over the Pages. Untap, untap. Okay, another Hidden Strings was fantastic. We'll play an Artist Talent. And we'll level it up. Play Hidden Strings. Discard Otawara. Yes, yes. And now we'll play another Artist Talent. Discard the Lotus Field. Play Pour Over the Pages. Makes 2 mana. Discard the land. Land. Another Artist Talent. Untap, untap. Oh, that's a lot of Artist Talents. We'll play 1. Discard the Dispute. And another Mystical Dispute. Play the 4th Artist Talent. Discard Consider. Steam Vents. Sleight of Hand. Pour Over the Pages is fantastic. We'll play that. 22 cards left in deck. Discard Wish. We have to keep the other Wish. Okay. Just churning through our deck at this point. Untap, untap. Discard Expedition Map. We'll tap for red. We'll play a Wish. Discard Stock Up. Land. Vizier. Hidden Strings. 11 cards left in deck. We'll play Stock Up. Discard the map. Pathway. Consider. Map. Stock Up. We'll take Sleight of Hand and Stock Up. Play Hidden Strings. 5 cards left in deck. Discard Stock Up. Land. Pour Over the Pages, it doesn't matter. This. And now Hidden Strings. Yes, yes. We'll cycle Vizier so that way we don't have any cards left in our deck. Untap a land. And Thassa's Oracle. Boom. Wow. Okay. Well, we're running low on time, but we got the job done. And we're now 3-0 with 2 matches left. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. For round number 4, we're on the draw. We're going to keep this hand. It's quite good. And I feel like a lot of our opening hands have actually been pretty good this league, so that's nice. Our opponent with a very fast, and I mean very fast mulligan to 5. Like, they went, like, their 6-card hand was seconds that they mulliganed it. Like, it was incredibly quick. So, we'll see what they're doing here. Some sort of red land. Okay. Steam Vents. Probably not the land I want in this matchup. We'll play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. No turn 2 play by the looks of it. Oh no, they do have a mouse. Okay. We'll play Stage. Pass the turn. Okay, now they play another one. They're giving the creature double strike, so I'll take 2 here. End step, we will use the map. Go grab a Lotus Field. We drew a path. Okay. We'll play the path. And I think I'd like to bluff having the bounce spell here. So I'll play Sleight of Hand. Then on the end step, we can play Consider. I guess we take another Artist Talent. Pass. And now they're going to give both of their creatures double strike. No blocks. End step, we'll play Consider. So they're stuck without red mana because their lands only make red if they're casting creature spells. So I feel like that's a benefit we're seeing right now. Let's float some blue mana. We'll play Lotus Field. And then we'll sacrifice, keeping the Thespian Stage around. We'll cycle Vizier. Untap the Lotus Field. Draw. And let's cycle the Vizier again. Untap. Love a Hidden Strings. Another land. My fear is dying. I guess I'll play a stock up. Floating 2 blue mana. We find Into the Flood Maw, but that doesn't even help me here because I've tapped out. We'll take Into the Flood Maw and the map, I guess. We'll play Sleight of Hand. Another map. Yeah, like these have been bad. And I guess we'll play the map. I'm worried that if our opponent draws a land, then I'm just dead. Okay. And they did hit a mountain. So I go to 9 now. And now they can play that mountain for turn. Yeah, I think we're dead because I drew so poorly. Pretty sure I just have to pass the turn here. They reveal a Heartfire Hero. And I have to do something now or else I'm dead. We'll bounce the Ember Heart. Yeah, like our deck just did not do anything here. And I'm still dead on board. So I have to Otawara or else I'm just dead. And then they can play a pump spell on this one. Our deck just did not function. And that'll do. Ah, disappointing. Alright, so we want the Chandra's Defeat and the Anger of the Gods. The question is, what are you boarding out? Like, that ultimately is the big question for me. And I think you could probably shave 1 wish. You could even shave 2 and then just try only winning with the Lindblums. Which I don't think is unrealistic. Like, that could be the plan. Because wish is really bad in this matchup, I think. And then, like, 2 considers or, like, 2 stock ups. And I think maybe it's stock up. We'll try this. I like having the lower to the ground cards rather than stock up. That feels a little clunky in this matchup. Game number 2 on the play. Reveal our Zerda. Sure, we'll keep. Play the Spirebluff Canal. Pass. Whoops. Wow, punt already. I meant to play the Sleight of Hand, but for some reason in my head it was a Consider. That's awkward. We'll play the Sleight of Hand. And that could have been a turn 2 Artist Talent. Ah, bummer. I don't know what I was thinking. I still think it's the Artist Talent. I'm not going to double down and take a Consider when I shouldn't. Okay. That's real unfortunate. And Magebane Lizard, huh? Okay. So if I play the Lindblum as a land, there's only 1 more to win with, so I don't think I want to do that. I'll just play the Artist Talent. I'll take 1. That's fine. And then I'll play Lotus Field. Pass the turn. They have land number 3. Screaming Nemesis. And now I'm at 11. Well, there's the other. We'll play 1. Really wish I had an untapped land here so I could level up my Artist Talent. Play 1 as a land. Pass. So if they have 4 damage in their hand, I'm dead. Because I have to bounce the Magebane Lizard. Emberheart Challenger. Okay. No blocks. So if I don't do anything, I would take 9. That would put me to 2, but I could still enter the Flood Maw on the end step. Okay. They play a land. End step, I will into the Flood Maw on the Magebane Lizard. And I don't think I'm actually... I mean, maybe I could get rid of the stock up. But I think the stock up's better than a random card when I already boarded out 2 of them. So I'm going to keep everything in my hand. Okay. So let's start by cycling the Vizier. And then I'll untap the Lotus Field. Draw a card. And now we'll level up the Artist Talent. Hidden Strings. Discard the Spirebluff Canal. We'll untap. I don't have the mana to play this into Pour Over the Pages, so we're not going to. We'll play Pour Over the Pages. Discard the Chandra's Defeat. Untap, untap. I think we get rid of the Otawara. And we'll play Stock Up. get rid of Consider, redraw Chandra's Defeat, another Hidden Strings, and stock up. So we'll play the Hidden Strings, get rid of Chandra's Defeat. Yes, yes. So I could play the Lindblum here. I would have 4 mana, so then I could play stock up. But stock up would have to hit Hidden Strings or Vizier, and I've already used 2 strings. If I just play stock up, I could hit Pour Over the Pages. So maybe I should just play the stock up here. Get rid of Consider. We had double strings. Okay. That's fine with me. So now I will play this as a spell. So now our win condition is on the board. Get rid of a Consider. We find Thespian Stage. A little late. Play Hidden Strings. I don't even know if I want to keep the Thespian Stage anymore. I'll say we'll get rid of it. Okay. And then if I level, each spell will now deal 3. And we'll Hidden Strings again. And I think I want all of the cards in my hand. But that's all of the Hidden Strings. We'll play Sleight of Hand. Expedition Map is a free spell. We'll play another Sleight of Hand. No, I want all of these. Pour Over the Pages. That's tough because I can't cast it now. I'm 1 mana short. So I think you're supposed to take the land. Because I don't have any... I mean, I guess I could cycle Vizier into Vizier, but that seems unlikely. We'll just take the land. Another Sleight of Hand. We'll get rid of the land. So that's 2 free spells. So if I find anything I can cast here, Vizier, cycle the Vizier, untap, draw, ooh. So we'll play Map, discard the land. Artist Talent does it. We'll play Artist Talent. No. And another Expedition Map. Boom! Okay, we win game number 2, despite my misplay on turn 1. Resubmit. I suppose something you could do is bring in the Oracle for a win condition, and then you're not stuck with clunky wishes, but then you have to draw the Oracle, you can never discard it. It's theoretically a blocker. I don't know if I like that, though. I'm going to just leave what we did. Our opponent has kept 7. We've opened up a 5-land hand that does not contain Lotus Field. Nope. This one's okay. We'll keep and get rid of Sleight of Hand? Or is it supposed to be the map? I think it's supposed to be the map. Turn 1 land. Heartfire Hero. Play this Fire Bluff pass. And they play a mouse. Yep. They have 4 in hand. So this hits me for 4, and then if I kill it, I would take 2 more. Should I just kill it now? I think the answer is yes. Maybe I was supposed to do it before the counter happened, but I was being indecisive. And now we'll play Sleight of Hand. The Anger of the Gods is interesting, but I think it's supposed to be the Into the Flood Maw. They give their own creature trample. No blocks. Land number 3. Sure. End step we'll consider. Keep the... Actually, no, we'll get rid of the Sleight of Hand. Another map. So I could bounce the mouse right now and then make them recast it. We'll play Sleight of Hand. Take the land. Play map. Pass the turn. They're giving the creature double strike again. I'll take 2. This puts me to 13. And they're going to offspring this Manifold Mouse. Okay. Sure. So I think I just Anger of the Gods plus Lotus Field. Anger. Play Lotus Field. Pass the turn. Screaming Nemesis. So now they attack for 5. I go to 8. They have 2 cards left. I'll use the map. So what's weird is I wonder if it's actually better to just grab another Lotus Field. Because then next turn I could just play Lotus Field, float mana on tap, and I wouldn't have to copy with the Thespian Stage. And I could play Sleight of Hand this turn. So I think Lotus Field is actually better than Thespian Stage in this spot. We'll play Sleight of Hand. Ooh, that was not the payoff spell I was hoping to find. Brutal. I guess we'll take the Lindblum. We will play Otawara. Pass the turn. I really need to draw like a Pour Over the Pages. They play Mutavault. So this would put me to 3. I think we just take it. Or if I bounce this, and then they play a Magebane Lizard. I'm stuck in a bad spot. So, like, what are the odds they've been sitting on a Magebane Lizard? But if I don't draw a payoff spell. If I bounce this, does it give me an extra turn? Next turn they would be attacking for 7. I could play the Lindblum as a blocker, and I would take 4. So that actually keeps me alive a turn. So maybe I am supposed to bounce this and just pray that they don't have it. And I'll take 2 down to 6. And they don't play anything post-combat. So they're going to use the ruins on the end step then. And we did not draw the payoff spell. Why are you like this deck? So we'll play Lotus Field. Sacrifice. Put Zerda to my hand. I can now Hidden Strings and play the Zerda as a blocker. And then I'll have Lindblum as a surprise blocker. If I do it now, I could... No, I've already played my land, so that doesn't even matter. Zerda on the table. Kicked Burst Lightning. I'm dead. Okay, they just had it. I was not expecting Burst Lightning, I'll be honest. All they have to do is activate the Renamap Ruins. And instead they play this Lynx. I guess this kills me too? Sure. Okay, so we lost. We are not going to get another trophy. Bummer. It happens. Well, let's just try to get match number 5. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. The 5th and final round, we're on the draw. I am currently revealing my Zerda the Dawnwaker. This seems like a keep to me. Uh-oh, mono red again on the draw. We drew a Lotus Field, that's very good. Let's play Sleight of Hand. We'll take the Consider, pass Monstrous Rage. This is not good for me. I would like an Into the Flood Maw. We'll play Consider. That's not it. Put it to the graveyard. Brutal. Pass the turn. They're attacking for 3. I'll go to 12. Another Heartfire Hero. Okay. I think it's supposed to be Artist Talent plus Lotus Field. And then my best draw by far next turn would be a Hidden Strings. Because that would allow me to level up the Artist Talent and pour over the pages. They swing for 4. I go to 8 unless they have an effect. They don't. They just pass. Okay, no Hidden Strings. I can stock up here. Trigger. Discard the Steam Vents. Another Consider. We do find a Flood Maw. And a Vizier. Pass the turn. They Burst Lightning me down to 6. So now they can attack for 4. I'll Flood Maw the 3/3 Heartfire Hero. Trigger the Artist Talent, discarding another Artist Talent. And now I'll take 1. I'm at 5. They replay the Heartfire Hero, and we're going to try to win. I'll start off by cycling the Vizier because it gives me the most information about how I'm allowed to play this turn. So you could just play pour over the pages, but if you could level up the Artist Talent first, that's what you would like to do. So if I wanted to level up the Artist Talent and then play pour over the pages, I'm actually 1 mana short. So I don't think that's a good idea. We'll just start by firing off pour over the pages then. Auto yield to this. We'll discard the Lotus Field. We drew Stage, which is very good. Okay. Discard the pathway. We'll play the Stage. I guess I will cycle a Vizier again. So if we find Hidden Strings, I can copy the Thespian Stage, and then it will be incredibly difficult to lose. But that has not happened, and we're over 50% of the way through our deck. So I guess I will play Pour Over the Pages again. Discard a Consider. We draw a land. Untap, and there's a Hidden String, so I think we've got it now. Use the Stage, cycle a Vizier, untap, draw, play Hidden Strings, discard a land. So admittedly, I forgot that I have not leveled up the Artist Talent, so we haven't quite won yet. We could still possibly fizzle. But I think I'm going to level it up now, and then we can play Stock Up. So Stock Up gets to look 6 cards deep for a Hidden Strings. And if it misses, which it didn't, but if it did, we could still play Consider or Sleight of Hand to dig even deeper. And now we'll play the Hidden Strings, discard Into the Flood Maw. Yes, yes. Okay. We'll play another Stock Up, get rid of the Expedition map, Hidden Strings and stock up. At this point, the game's over. We'll play Hidden Strings, get rid of Into the Floodmaw. We'll play Wish, get rid of Lindblum. I was thinking about maybe not showing the opponent it, but I don't think it really matters. We'll play Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. And now I'm able to replay my entire graveyard. 4 over the pages. Whoops, I'm a mana short. Okay. Well, I could have cycled the Vizier. It's just I couldn't cast it immediately. So we won game number 1. I think we want the Anger of the Gods. We would like the Chandra's Defeat. I still think I like getting rid of the Wishes. Yeah, I'm going to board the same that I did last round. I'm not sure if it's correct. Like, I'm not saying that this is definitely the right plan. But I just feel like cutting a clunky card like Stock Up versus Mono Red makes a lot of sense. And I would like to keep as many Consider as possible because it's a low-to-the-ground cheap card in a matchup where you need to find Into the Floodmaw quickly. Reveal our Zerta, the Dawnwaker. We keep this. We have Mountain into this, okay. Another Floodmaw. We'll play Expedition Map. Pass. They have a Mutavault into Manifold Mouse, okay. We'll play another Path. Pass the turn. And now their enchantment flips into a creature. Heartfire Hero, okay. And another Manifold Mouse. So this would be a very good turn if I had a Anger of the Gods to blow them out. And they're pumping up their Heartfire Hero and the Manifold Mouse with an attack for 4. So I can go grab the Lotus Field, or I can try to consider into our 2 of Anger of the Gods, which I don't feel like is a winning play. So let's just use the map. We'll go grab either Lotus Field or Thespian Stage. I feel like it's probably the Lotus Field. They have 1 card left in their hand. Vizier was an interesting draw because now I can play the Lotus Field and hold up double Floodmaw plus Consider. We'll play the Lotus Field. How insane would it be if we drew Anger of the Gods off this? I would lose it. Untap. Stage? That's not bad. We'll pass the turn. Okay, they're pumping up their stuff. Sure. And now they're going to combat. So it's into the Floodmaw to bounce the Heartfire Hero. And then let's bounce the Manifold Mouse. That's a double striker. So then they have 3 damage coming in. I'll play Consider. Get rid of the Sleight of Hand. Artist Talent. Not a great draw. So this puts me down to 10. Heartfire Hero is back. And so is the Manifold Mouse. Anger of the Gods, please. Okay, so we can now play Pour Over the Pages this turn. Cycle on tap. Also, if I hit a Hidden Strings here, we can try to win. I didn't. We'll play the Thespian Stage and Pour Over the Pages. We get another Pour Over the Pages and an Into the Floodmaw. Get rid of the map. I believe I'm supposed to pass here. Interesting. So I'm at 10. So this would be 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I'm dead to like a Monstrous Rage. We'll Floodmaw and bounce the Heartfire Hero. And copy the Lotus Field. I just have to hope that I'm not dead. I go to 3, so I'm not dead to a Burst Lightning either. Ooh, but I am dead to a Lightning Strike. Okay. Bummer. Our opponent seems to be playing more Burn than the last one, so maybe I want 1 Wish for Thassa's Oracle. Take out 1 Consider. We'll just try this. On the play for the final game of this Pioneer League. I am not allowed to keep this garbage hand. We will mulligan. This one's interesting. I think we keep. Get rid of 1 copy of Consider. Looks like our opponent also mulliganed. We'll play Spirebluff Canal and pass. The Heartfire Hero. Play Consider. Get rid of the land. Into the Floodmaw's not bad. Play the Pathway, Sleight of Hand. Take the stock up. We already have 1 Anger of the Gods. I don't need 2 of them. Ooh, I guess I cut myself off of double red. The Manifold Mouse. Okay, so we're going to Floodmaw here just to buy time so that way I can stock up. And I would have ripped the red land anyway, but that's okay. Why did I do that? I should have... That was dumb. I should have played the Spire Bluff because now I can't go land Anger next turn. Unless I, like, hit well. That was very dumb. I'm just not playing well. Yeah, that was very foolish. Expedition Map and Vizier. So you could take the Artist Talent, but then you can't use the Vizier to untap a red source at some point. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. That's entirely possible. Maybe it was supposed to be Artist Talent. The Heartfire Hero. And now they're going to pump it. Okay, this is a lot of damage. Lotus Field. Okay. Glad I took this expedition map I don't need now. We'll play the Lotus Field, cycle the Vizier, untap, and I drew a land. We'll play Anger of the Gods, play map, pass the turn. They play the Lynx, I go to 11, Artist Talent. We'll play Artist Talent, play Spirebluff Canal, and Hidden Strings, trigger, discard the stage. Okay, that didn't go as well as I would have hoped. We'll copy the Lotus Field, use the map. And I think we're supposed to grab like Otawara. Actually, the Lindblum triggers the talent. Let's grab that. Pass it. So if they have 6 damage in hand, I'm dead. That's 8 plus the pump. That would put me to 1. Or they're not going to use the pump. Oh, it's because it's not one of those creature types. Got it. Okay. What to do? I have to have like a string of lucky hits here to win. Their creature has trample too. Level up Artist Talent. Play map for free. Trigger, discard the Lotus Field. Vizier's good. Cycle the Vizier. Untap. I'm 1 mana short of Otawara to bounce the Lynx, but the Lynx would kill me anyway from its triggered ability. We hit poor. Wow! Let's go. Discard. Untap, untap. Discard a land. We'll play map for free. Trigger. That could have been better. Okay. I guess we'll use the map. Grab Otawara. We'll Floodmaw on the Lynx, I guess. Discard the Otawara. We're running out of resources here. I needed to rip another Pour Over the Pages or a stock up. I think we're just dead now. We'll play this as a spell, triggers. I don't think there's one card that can get me out of this. Play Sleight of Hand. And we're just dead now. The Pour Over the Pages was too late. Ah, bummer. And we are dead to the trigger on the Lynx. Ah, what a way to end it. So we did not beat Mono Red, which is sort of what I've found when I've played Pioneer the last few times that I have over the last like year or so, is that even with 4 main deck Floodmaw and Chandra's Defeat in the sideboard, I feel like I'm a dog in this matchup. I could just be sideboarding wrong. If you think I'm sideboarding wrong, tell me why. But maybe I'm just not approaching the matchup in the right way. I don't know if Zerda is worth it, if I'm being honest. I think if this were a Dig Through Time, and you had the Leer in the main deck, I would love this deck list. I think Lindblum is real. Like, this seems like the biggest improvement to me. So I'd probably cut 1 Wish for the main deck Leer, and maybe 1 Dig Through Time in the sideboard. I think I like the 4 stock up in the main deck. Alternatively, if you want to keep double Wish, you can move stock up to the sideboard and put the Leer in the spot of the 4th stock up. I do think that's acceptable too. And I might like that more with testing, but I don't know for certain until I start playing with it. But that's another option. Basically, I don't know how to fix the mono red matchup. If you're playing Zerda, you're not allowed to run 9 lives, which is a card that is pretty good in the matchup. I cut 9 lives today for Chandra's Defeat. Chandra's Defeat is a lower to the ground, doesn't require Lotus Field, which I like. 9 lives buys you a lot of time, though, which is very good. So that's what I've got for today. Those are my thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Have a great day, and as always, keep storming. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week?